friends. What's the point in doing any of this without sharing it with your friends? I'm in a truly blessed position where I can say I have an excellent circle of high-performing friends. And today, I want to show my appreciation to just a few of them by going over some of the big life lessons I've learned from my friends in the last few months. And I think a lot of you boys would do very well to listen very carefully to this video and the life lessons that come along with it. Because frankly, if you listen and implement some of this stuff, it could change the trajectory of your entire life. So firstly, let's go over Jack Hogg. I met Jack Hogg about 3 months ago for the first time. We have a few mutual friends and I met him when I first came back to Thailand. And me and Hogg got along very quickly. We're men of the Not only is he an absolute Greek god in terms of his physique, but he's actually one of the most deep and philosophical and introspective people that I've ever met. Which is quite interesting because the stereotypes for these, big musclehead bodybuilder types of dudes is that they're not very intelligent. They're not very philosophical. They don't think about life very much. Hogg is very unique in the sense that he is very much so insanely dialed in to his lifestyle, but also he is incredibly philosophical. And I actually really enjoy that about Hogg, and we've shared some really incredible experiences and conversations together. One of the many things I learned from Hogg is the actual power of saying no. Hogg lives his life by his own sort of rule book, and it's very easy to get swept along in, waves of emotions and wanting to feel included in the group. So for example, we all go out to dinner. If Hogg has eaten all of his calories for the day, then he won't eat. He'll simply just enjoy the company. And I don't know if some of you boys could relate to this, but I find myself sometimes getting swept along with what, the group's doing, what everyone else is doing. So for example, if everyone else starts smoking cigarettes, then I might feel inclined like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go smoke a cigarette as well, even though I don't even particularly enjoy them. Hogg is incredibly good at saying no and living by his own rule book. And every single time he does say no, even though he's going against the grain of what everyone else is doing around him, I find myself gaining more and more respect for him. And I can't imagine the amount of internal respect he gains for himself for being able to say no to some of these things. If he doesn't want to go out, he won't go out. If he doesn't want to drink, he won't drink. If he doesn't want to smoke, he won't smoke. If he doesn't want to eat, he won't eat. There's a fuck ton of power in being able to say no. Next up is Jack Hopkins, aka the CEO of Testosterone. I met Jack last year here in Thailand, and when we met, he was £5,000 in debt and he didn't really have all of the pieces together yet. He didn't know what he was going to do in terms of his purpose and his mission and how to make money. As soon as I met Jack, I very much so knew that he belonged in front of a camera. Jack has incredible bombastic energy, and it's seemingly just unlimited as well. It's absolutely a beautiful thing to be spending time with Jack every time. And I've learned a lot from Jack. Not only does he have this incredible energy about him, but is also incredibly intelligent and a very good friend. And he's genuinely about the things that he preaches, which is very rare, and I have a lot of respect for that. One of the many things I've learned from Jack is the power of never complaining. I remember in group Muay Thai sessions where we're all absolutely killing ourselves, I'm fighting for my life, gasping for air. Jack would always look at me dead in the eyes and say to me, I'm not tired. We never get tired, do we, Sam? We love this. We love pushing ourselves to our edge. We are never tired. And for the longest time, when he would do this to me, he seemingly singled me out sometimes. He'd just stare at me dead in the eyes and say, we're never tired. And I didn't understand for a while, I didn't understand why this was the case. But I've realized now that there's so much power in what you believe. And I think I found myself sometimes saying out loud in these Muay Thai sessions, I feel tired. I feel like I'm going to throw up. I think Jack saw that and he wanted to sort of nail home the point that he's trying to make, which is there's no power in complaining. If you believe that you are tired, then you're going to be tired. If you believe that you're an absolute fucking god and you never get tired and you absolutely love this right now, you've been hitting this bag for 5 minutes straight, you feel absolutely amazing, you're not tired at all. You're not going to feel anywhere near as bad as you would be if you were self-defeated in your brain and saying to yourself, I feel tired, I feel like I'm gonna throw up. So it took me a while to get that, and once again, for a while when he would do this, I'd just be very confused and I'd be like, why is he doing this? But eventually it got through. true. And a good thing about Jack is he won't always sort of just sit you down and say the piece of advice. He has a very clever way of bringing out the best in you in a very positive way without necessarily confronting you head on, unless it's necessary, of course. Sometimes it's necessary. But that's just one of the many things I've learned from Jack, aka CEO of Testosterone. Next says Bill Clark. I met Bill at the same time as I met Jack last year in Thailand because they were essentially sort of in the same boat. They were trying to figure themselves out and like how they're going to like sort of make this work. They like the lifestyle here, but they've not pieced together the route that they're going to go down yet. And it's a really beautiful thing actually, because now both Jack and Bill are in close business together and they're winning together, and I find that to be fucking beautiful. And what I really like about Bill and why I've connected with Bill so well is that we're both sort of introverted and sort of observant. We're not like super bombastic energy. And every time I do speak to Bill, we always have a fucking excellent conversation. We've got a bunch of really funny inside jokes, and it's always just a very intellectual and funny conversation to have. I actually had dinner with him yesterday, and he really fucking, you know, we had a fucking great conversation there, which has really helped sort of switch my mind on a few things. So, and that's a standard procedure. Every time I see Bill, we have a fucking great time and great conversation. So it's fucking brilliant. Bill has the ability to soak up information like a fucking sponge as well. Bill's growth in the last year or so has been absolutely insane. And I was just saying to him yesterday, like his body, he's looking so fucking dialed right now. He's looking like an absolute fucking unit, which is fucking awesome because I sort of fell off my fitness stuff, and just seeing Bill inspires me to really get back on it again. Something Bill taught me recently is the importance of taking a break. Taking a step back from all of the noise and like, you know, the constant busyness, and allowing your brain to like just reset. Because frankly, sometimes that's the most productive thing you can do, even though you're not necessarily doing mechanical tasks all the time. Maybe you're just fucking sat on a beach, relaxing for a little bit. What that does is it allows your brain to reset, and it allows you to come back into your work with a new energy, a new insight. And people recharge in different ways. The beach isn't really for me. I don't like the beach. It feels like I just feel uncomfortable not doing something productive, not having some sort of objective. And I've still not really figured out what my retreat is, you know, what my break is. I'm not good at that. I'm not good at sort of switching off. But Bill has really nailed home the point of how important it is, and now I'm trying to like sort of just understand myself and how I can actually emulate having a rest and turning my brain off from my work for a little bit, just so I can reset. Next up is Yanis. Yanis is probably my oldest friend to date now. We met back in the gamer days, literally I think it was like 2016, 2017, and we used to play Rust together and Counter-Strike. And the thing is with Yanis, even though sometimes we would share like, you know, bullshit activities together like playing video games, there was always another level to Yanis beyond that, where he was constantly trying to actually develop something, whether that be his body or his business. And I think that's why we really connected on a much deeper level. I obviously wasn't developing anything productive myself at this time. If you know my story, like I was down bad. But I think that energy of wanting more is like very prevalent, and I think he probably saw that in me as well. Yanis wanted more to life than a 9 to 5 and then going home and playing video games. And I think the learning lesson I got from Yanis is that diamonds can be found in the rough. My general advice to a lot of you guys who tell me like, Sam, I want to get my friends onto, you know, better habits and self-development and stuff, right? My general advice is that they're usually lost in the source, and the only way you can really help them is by just walking the path yourself, and they might see the results that you're getting and they might want to follow. But there really are diamonds in the rough if you're able to pick them out, and that is up to your judgment. But my learning lesson from Yanis is that yes, there are diamonds in the rough. You can find good men, brothers, from lower quality environments like video games. But there should be some very good telltale signs that, you know, they're not destined for that. A lot of people are destined to just settle with a 4 out of 10, have a 9 to 5 and fucking play video games when they come home. There should be telltale signs that that's not them. What to look out for? I've got no idea. It's up to your judgment. Next up is Terrell. Terrell is a YouTuber who's actually based out here in Thailand, is on the island opposite to me. And I saw some of his videos for the first time in December. And I ended up personally reaching out to him because I actually really liked what he was doing with the creativity of his videos. And it turns out Terrell likes what I do as well, so we decided to connect once I'm back in Thailand. And Terrell's an absolute fucking G. Really nice guy, very intelligent guy as well. And something he said to me once really stuck with me, and that is to not creatively castrate yourself. I feel like it's very easy to get lost in the sauce in what you're doing in terms of like trying to generate results. And you end up doing things which you don't even enjoy. You're not even creatively making anything. You're just oiling the machine, you know? And I think all of us are guilty of this sometimes. We get lost in a sauce and we're just going with the motions. We're not even really enjoying what we do. I think the way Terrell said creatively castrating yourself is a really good way of putting it. Sometimes, boys, you gotta take a step back, look at what you're doing, what you're producing, what you're putting out into the world, and think, am I happy with this? Is this what I want to be putting out into the world? Am I creatively castrating myself? Another person I met recently here in Thailand is David. David is a Spanish guy. He does his own YouTube channel, so if you're Spanish, you know, you could go check that out. I have no idea what he says in his videos. I have no idea if they're good or bad, but what I do know is David's a fucking G. David is a very, very funny and bombastic guy, and is also incredibly emotionally intelligent, which is really nice. Something me and David have spoke about is the power in forgiveness. David told me a story about how he was deeply wronged in the past and that he lost, you know, so many people and things which he thought he loved. And he tells me this story and I'm listening and I'm just thinking to myself like, man, how are you not bitter about it? David operates his life on such a high vibrational level considering what happened to him just a few years ago. He's not bitter and he's just a man on his journey. A lot of hardships feel incredibly catastrophic in the moment, but if you actually take a step back and look at the grand scope of things, you'll realize that it's literally just a small blip on your journey as a man. And to not remain at a low vibrational state, you have to forgive who's wronged you in your past. You need to show a level of understanding, introspectiveness, and forgiveness. And you're not necessarily doing it for them, you're doing it for yourself. None of us like feeling angry or sad or bitter. It doesn't make us feel good. You can operate at a high level with a high vibrational state. Grateful, happy, loving. These are much healthier ways to navigate your life, and it starts with forgiveness. And last but not least, I'm going to talk about Dario now. I'm not going to try and say Dario's second name because it's mad Italian. But Dario is an absolute G, and Dario actually is an incredibly successful businessman running a physical business and bringing very, very, very good cash on a yearly basis. Despite this, Dario is one of the most down-to-earth people I've ever met. A mindset which I've picked up over the last 2 years or so, which is incredibly toxic, is the fact that if someone asks questions about your product, then they're most likely going to be like nightmare customers to deal with. They're just brokies and they're going to be like, you know, terrible clients, right? But that's not actually the case at all. Some people just genuinely want to know that you care enough about your product that you're willing to answer questions about the product to the potential customer. So for the longest time, whenever someone would ask me, you know, questions about my product or like try and probe me on what it is and the results they can achieve, in my brain subconsciously, I would just cast them off as nightmare customers and, you know, brokies, which is incredibly toxic. What Dario taught me is that's not actually the case. And just to prove this, he actually went into a sales call with one of my students to talk to them directly about the product that they were thinking about buying, which I deemed in my mind at the time as a complete waste of time. Fast forward a week or so, those two had the call, and the student is now inside of my academy, thriving amongst the community. This was an incredibly valuable lesson for me to learn, and that toxic mindset I had before is incredibly low vibrational, not true, and very, very unproductive. Those are just a few of the many, 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 many lessons that I get from my friends. And once again, I'm truly blessed to have such an excellent circle of friends, and a lot of them not even mentioned in this video because otherwise it would be fucking 10 hours long. Every single day I'm learning new things because I'm a student to life, and it's truly a beautiful thing. And speaking of my Academy of Excellence, if you want to join one of my over 200 students learning how to video edit and to effectively monetize the skill so you can escape the 9-to-5 rat race and achieve financial and location freedom, then check out the first link in the description right now. I hope this video was helpful, boys. Take care.